I finished this book, Snowball, on Warren Buffett. And here are the 5 things which I learned from him. So, first of all, once upon a time, once Warren Buffett and Bill Gates were discussing like what's the one most important habit they had for which they became successful. And both of them came to the same answer. It was focus, both in the micro and in the macro. And this has been a major theme on Warren Buffett's life, his ability to focus. His family has a running joke that he is someone who's on the God's chosen path, right? Like he neglected all his life, his kids, his wife Susie, and everyone basically. Why? Just so that he can focus on work. And thus, he had a really bad relationship with them. His children often felt neglected. They never had a proper relationship with him, just like he had with his parents. But that's how he became the world's greatest investor. And this is what we need to do if we want to have an asymmetric result in life. A life so basically, in order to have in order to become someone great at one thing, we need to highly focus on that. And thus, in order to focus on something, we have to detract our focus from another things. And thus, we will have to neglect certain areas of our life. And this was taught to me by Warren. Like from as a kid, waking up at 4 a.m. to deliver his newspapers to becoming the greatest investor. This is the one trait that helped him to be who he became. The second thing which I learned was to have fun while you are working. Warren always advises young people to take up careers or take up jobs which they would have fun working in. Because most of our life we are working, right? If we have 24 hours a day and we are working at least 8, that's a third of our life. Even more than that, because for 8 hours we are sleeping. So essentially our waking up time is 16 hours. And in that half of our time we are working. So if we are not having fun while working, then we have a fun life or no. And most of us, we want to have a really fun, lively life. Plus, if you want to be someone great, you need to have fun while working. There are very rare exceptions like this man, Andre Agassi, who was tortured into greatness. His story is basically that his father had a dream that my son will be the greatest tennis player in the world, and he tortured Andre into becoming that. But there are very few exceptions like him. Most of our parents weren't really on this divine mission to make us the greatest in one particular field, right? Like if you ask yourself that what did your father heavily push you towards? Probably studying and getting a decent job, right? But he didn't push you heavily towards becoming the world's greatest cricketer or the world's greatest businessman or building the world's next next $1 trillion company or becoming the world's best musician, guitarist. So we don't have that. And that's a kind of a disadvantage to us because if we don't have the push towards something, if we don't have the outside energy, the potential energy, then we have to create it ourselves. And the best source, there are two sources which we can use, either a hatred towards ourselves, that we hate ourselves so much that we are inclined to change, or a love towards the thing which we are pursuing. Because when you love something, you actually do it effortlessly. Like the effort towards it feels negligible. It's almost like you are having fun while you're working. Like for me, reading is fun. I kind of think of it as self that it's a bad habit because I don't really need any motivation for it. I don't need to make up a mind, okay, that now it's the time for me to read. Whereas for other things like coding or writing or gym, I still need to make up my mind and I have to push myself a bit. That means you have to go to the gym, you have to code for a while, you have to write. But reading doesn't do that. Doesn't need that. It's normal for me. Like if I'm having a bad day or if I'm feeling tired, I would just read. And that's what Warren means. That this is the life you want to live. The life in which you are so engrossed in what you want to do. You are having so much fun that all the rest of life feels boring. Elon has a great quote on this, that all my life except work is a healthy nuisance. And that's entails it. Now, if you want to deep dive into this section, that how love is the greatest source of you getting what you want, you need to love the thing you want to work on. You can check this Sam Owens video in which he explains this in deep percents. And the third thing is that the third thing I learned from Warren was that you can do 1,000 things wrong, but if you just did one thing right, if you just did one thing right, you will still win. Warren, growing up, had a really bad relationship with his mother, so much so that he couldn't even live, or he couldn't even stand being alone with her. Plus, he was a very weak person internally. Like when his wife died, when Susie died, he couldn't even bring himself to attend the funeral, and he locked himself into his room for 2 months and just basically cried. He was weak. Even as a kid growing up, when compared to his sisters, he was a bum. His sisters were gorgeous, they had all the attention in the world, but he was kind of a weird boy. Because obviously he was weird. He liked business. And when you are 12, 13, who likes business? People like comics, people like sports, but who likes business? And that's why he heavily struggled with girls growing up. And that was a major insecurity for him. But Warren being Warren, he decided to change it. And he attended Dale Carnegie's course on how to be more social. So you can see that even if you are so weak, you are so behind the curve, like Warren was in girls, not in money obviously, but in girls when he was younger, that you are so behind. But if you just keep on trying, you eventually get good at it. And this is what Warren taught me. Because obviously, from a young age, he was good at business. Like this was something which he did for fun. But he wasn't good with girls. This wasn't skill he possessed growing up. But he still tried. He didn't neglect it. He tried. In the end, he got the girl he wanted, who was Susie, right? His wife, till the day she died. So that's what Warren taught me, that you can be extremely weak person, you can be insecure, so much so that you want people to like you all the time. You can have deep rooted traumas with your mother. You have deep insecurity with girls, and you can still be the greatest investor of all time. Why? Because you just love the one thing which you do, which is business and investing. Like in Warren's case. In your case, it might be different. Like you might have a really bad relationship with your father, or you might have a lot of demons in your head from childhood. You might have been sexually assaulted as a kid. But if you just do the one thing which you know will give you the fruit of your results, then it will all be worth it in the end. Like many people have this conspiracy theory that, okay, Warren eats McDonald's a lot. Why? Because McDonald's is the largest shareholder of Coke. No. Ever since he was a kid, he used to drink cherry Coke and eat only hamburgers. Like this was his natural diet. French fries, hamburgers and Diet Coke. And you can think like all the productivity gurus, like everyone knows that to have the optimal work, you need to have a good sleep, you need to have a lot of protein and fats and no carbs to have your brain in the most optimal state. But this man drank Coke in replacement of water. and his brain was much better than others. Why? Because he just loved what he did. And that's what I learned from him, that you can do 1,000 things wrong, but if you just focus on the most important things, one or two most important things, then you can still win at this game of life. Now the third thing, now the fourth thing which Warren taught me was that what makes a business good. His basic definition of what makes a business good is something which can be run by a ham sandwich, a person who doesn't really know what he's doing, or a person who can't handle a business, but the business is so good that it still keeps on growing. We can also think of it this way, that a business which keeps being profitable while suffering major crises throughout its lifetime, like pandemics, banks defaulting on their currency, entire currencies being so much inflated, like what happened in Germany, and all this. So that is what makes a good business. Warren often quotes himself saying that the people will make much better choices if they had only 20 chances of making investments in their entire lifetime. Like they will be much more cautious, much more smart, much more intelligent with their decisions if they had only 20 chances to win lottery, right? Ironically, do you think that Berkshire Hathaway, his own business, is a good business? Like, can it be run by a ham sandwich? And will it be ever able to, will Warren be ever replaced? Now, the fifth thing which Warren taught me was it takes 20 years to build a reputation and 20 seconds to ruin it. That's true. I also believe that as a man, the most important thing which you have is your respect, is your reputation, what you think of yourself as a person. And you can make your self image your entire life, and it will take just a moment to break it. And that's why always and always, if you have the choice to protecting your self image, protecting your reputation, or protecting some money, getting some money, then always choose the reputation, because it always helps in the end. Because when you have that kind of reputation, a good reputation, then people do believe you. Like, there are thousands and thousands of examples in history in which people were spared lives because of their reputation. Like, there was this one great samurai. I don't really remember his name. This is kind of a vague example which I am giving, but like, and he was a great general, and he was considered so smart, so cautious, that he always had a way to get out of things. And but once he was surrounded in a city, and there were only 100 soldiers, something 100 soldiers uh, protecting him, but there were thousands of barbarians around the city, and they would have killed him. But what he did, he came to the city center and only just stood there as a single person. And then the opposing general thought of him that this man, this smart man, if he's staying in the middle of the city, empty, barehanded, then he must have a plan, and he must be plotting something. So it isn't a good strategy to attack him there. And they didn't attack him. But he didn't really have a plan. He was completely surrounded, he was armed, he had very few men. But he still survived that battle because of his reputation of being a really strategic and cautious man. So it's really important that you need to make a reputation which serves you and not deserve you, right? And that's what Warren taught me. In the end, I want to read you the introduction of this book because it's really beautiful. And then we will end this video, right? In the winter of Warren's ninth year, outside in the yard, he and his little sister Bertie are playing in the snow. Warren is catching snowflakes, one at a time at first. Then he is scooping them up by handfuls. He starts to pack them into a bottle. As the snowball grows bigger, he places it on the ground. Slowly, it begins to roll. He gives it a push, and it picks up more snow. He pushes the snowball across the lawn, piling slow on the snow. Soon, he reaches the edge of the yard. After a moment of hesitation, he heads off, rolling the snowball through the neighborhood. And from there, Warren continues onward, casting his eye on a whole world full of snow. Thank you.